Welcome, welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue of the day, any issue trending. We fear no subject matter. You can pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. And you can interrupt us at any time. And you can change the subject matter. You see, we believe in our democratic system. People must use it. If you don't use it, you could well lose it. Sometimes I want to challenge some of our political activists. Yes, caller, welcome. Welcome. Okay, we lost this caller. Caller, just try again. I know you wanted to open but sometimes you lose the opportunity. So give us a call again. Sometimes you want to challenge you or political activists. You don't have to discuss the issue of politics only in Grenada. There are a lot of hot spots around the world. And some people, perhaps who have the natural tendency to gravitate towards doom and gloom, believe that very soon the Third World War will start, or you've already started. United States and Russia, some advance the view, is fighting a proxy war in Ukraine. Now we have a situation in Africa, Niger, Burkina Faso. 4 of these countries recently had coup d'etats, and ECOWAS decided they gave Niger a deadline in which to return back to constitutional rule. The previous leader won election with 55%. But the army overthrew that leader. And it seems that the West and Russia will clash in Africa. ECOWAS is against the coup d'etat, and they gave them a deadline. The deadline end. And Niger decided to declare a no-fly zone over the airspace, and ECOWAS did the same. Nigeria is the biggest country in ECOWAS, and so far has been carrying about 70 of the costs of ECOWAS. It's interesting politics, and some of our political activists in Grenada, you are not dictated or bogged down by BBC and CNN alone. You can always use your telephone, your cell phone, and get different news on Facebook, social media, Al Jazeera, etc., etc. So do that. Russia pardoned about $23 billion in debt from Africa. Europe is putting sanctions on Africa, on these countries. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
I can't wait late to call you.
No, it's always good to battle.
Yes. No, I want to find out really what's going on, what Grenada come to know. For what I see on the news and what I understand sometimes, I'm an age person, so perhaps I don't understand well. I understand this subject of what they want to bring in school. For children, that is where Grenada reached to. Although I know he had this thing happening here already on the thing, but now as though they want to have it publicly, some man and man to be together, woman and woman to be together, and not a problem. But I just can't understand how some of these ministers, what in government there, could say they're reading the Bible and to preach to other people about what God says and what God says. And they leave out this part of it. Just for $1, they have to compromise to agree for this thing, what a government want to do in school with our grandchildren and children and great-grand, I just cannot understand what is going on. If that is where Grenada reach in this kind of a situation. But God, He is God. Although in the Bible where it's I can understand too good and explain too good, but it said the time will come when men will deny Him because the trial and tribulation will come. And then men going to deny Him because if you stand up and say there is a God, they might cut off your head. But if that is what He have to come to, I rather they cut me head off. Because I know there is a God. And what God said in His word is yea and amen. His word never change. He didn't make Adam and Steve. He made Adam and Eve. He took a rib from Adam and make Eve. He's a man and a woman. He said it's not good for man to live by himself alone. So He took a rib and make a woman. He didn't make a man to put there with Adam. And this is where Grenada reach all America style and West style. That is what I had to say our Prime Minister. I didn't vote for them. But I had to say our Prime Minister. There is where he want to bring Grenada. But woe be unto them. And I want to see the one what run for here, he didn't win his seat, is David Andrew, to tell him face to face that if he call himself, because when he came, they came to me to offer. I say, I know you because you just come in Market Church or just go Market Pentecostal. I say, because you come in the church there and preach over and over already. I had to ask him if he denying God's word now just for $1. If it's there he reached to. God bless you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, interesting conversation. I was waiting one night when we would start to discuss this thing. Kuwait has banned the movie, some movie Barbie doll or something. Kuwait said that is against the culture, and that is promoting homosexuality in Kuwait. The clashes is going on also in Africa. And you hear me speaking about the war in Africa. Because sometimes we close our eyes. Democracy gives you power, you know. But if you go to sleep, you could get and you could vote for what you don't want. Because we have a democratic country, and you have a right to exercise that democratic right. This is why it's important to know what politicians stand for and what is the position on fundamental issues. What is the position on your religious fundamental issues? Is these people pro-choice? Are they pro-life? Is these people against euthanasia? We have to know these things. You hear me say on many occasions on the radio, to the wrath of some of my friends, that I don't care about reparation. If you get money, I'm glad. Money is always good. But the black man have to stand up and determine what they want. And they have to also protect the weaker among them. In today's society, Grenada is a democracy. And when you choose politician, you have to determine what your politicians stand for. But we stay quiet on certain issues. We stay quiet on certain issues. And we have a number of wolf in sheep clothing. I take the strongest objection when I see individuals in politics and they are not standing up for fundamental issues. They live in political parties not on fundamental issues because of the alleged, and I say alleged because I don't have the facts, but that is the word on the ground, that politicians changing because of money. And it means if you have money and you could dictate the pace, you could buy the politicians. But when the politicians come to you, you're not asking them, are you hostile against elderly people? Are you hostile against disadvantaged people? You're not asking them that. We are not asking our politician, what is your position on homosexuality? Do you support man married in man and woman married in woman? We're not asking them that. What is your position on the death penalty? What is your position on corporal punishment? We're not asking that. So we buy a whole set of cat in bag, wolf in sheep clothing. We never asked these questions. And we gave them the power to bring in things and to pass laws that we are fundamentally against. It has happened throughout history. African leaders know, a number of African leaders are objecting to the West trying to bestow upon them to pass in their laws and accept LGBTQR plus what? You see the situation in Jamaica, where Jamaica say based upon the laws on our books, we cannot accept the ambassador. The ambassador is a man and his wife is a male. So when our politicians come in, be they coming in as religious people or not, we need to ask questions. We need to know, are you going to change the curriculum in the school so that you start to teach about gay marriage and gay culture? Many years ago, Catholic Church was totally against teaching anything about family planning. They said, don't teach it in our schools. And you couldn't hold a workshop in their school if they knew that was your intention. Over the years, a lot has changed, and people just accept political leaders without knowing what is the policy they're going to propagate. You hear me speak a lot of time on the radio, and I don't take much issue with individuals. I don't like to take too much issue with individual politicians. I prefer to deal with the policies, you know. And I've said before, the National Democratic Congress, historically, the policy of the NDC have always been hostile against the marginalized, poor people, disadvantaged children. The NDC have cloaked the policy, and it has attracted a number of people in the very said low-income group. And I pointed it out. A lot of people whose income is less than $3,000 a month are supporting NDC. It's practically ironical, because they are supporting a political party that is directly hostile to their income group. But you see, they believe they're in a different social plateau, a different social strata. So they believe that party is the best party for them. They forget the economic consequence of their action. So it doesn't matter who really leads NDC. You could get a worse group or a little better group. You can't get a good group. And you don't have to believe me, you know. Go back to 1990 and look at the performance in 1990. And look at the performance in 2008, 2013. You could get a bad group and a group that's not so bad, because their policy is hostile to people in the lower income group. It does not mean that some people in the country don't glad when NDC come in power. Some people glad. Now look at, and yesterday somebody was asking me on that. Now look at NNP. The present leader of the NNP has indicated that he will not contest the election next time as the leader. But it doesn't matter, because based upon the policy of the NNP, they're always very sensitive to the needs of people in the lower income group. Go back and watch NNP history. They always concerned about people in the lower income group, the marginalized, the less fortunate, the elderly, disadvantaged children. And their policies are always geared to improve that group. And I would like challenge on that. I would like somebody call me and take me on that. So it doesn't matter, in the absence of the present leader of NNP, it doesn't matter which person that evolve as a leader of NNP, the people in the lower income group could be comfortable with whichever leader comes, because the policy of that party historically seeks the interests of people in the lower income group. You can feel safe, I will not be disadvantaged, because that group policy is geared to my protection, my development. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I just want to say something concerning the LGBTQ.
Go right ahead.
No, many of us, I have to say us, mothers, are guilty of our sons being in that. Reason for this is because sometimes a woman gets pregnant and she's hoping to have a girl child. She wishes a girl and she wishes a girl. But when the child born, it is a boy. But she still have that mentality, is a girl she wanted. And she will dress up that child as a girl. For instance, you'll put a pink shirt as they go like colors, they say pink is for girls. They would put pink on him. They would make little dress and put on and say, oh, you look nice, you look cute in that. Plait the hair like a girl, put bubbles and all them sorts of things. So the child growing up with that mentality that he's a girl in a male body. You hear boys saying that, I'm a girl but in a male body. I walked with people like that, transgender, and they're proud because I'm a female in a male body. Yes, they are nice people. They're very kind. They're very friendly. They're not that hostile. But at the same time, it is wrong. It is not of God. And parents must think about it, think twice. Because they are the ones that are guilty of the boys being that. Because when you're dressing them up like girls and you're telling them they look cute and them kind of thing, they're growing up with that. Thank you very much.
Yes, my caller, and you are arguing that it is more of an environmental factor than a genetic issue. And a lot of discussion go on this issue. And I'm not here discussing the right or wrong of it, but some people believe it is more of environmental factors. There are instances when genetically you will find people that have more estrogen and oxytocin in the body. And now, people prop it up artificially and create the environment. Kuwait ban a movie. Some Barbie black. I notice one of the California now is Black Barbie. It's some Barbie story. But Kuwait banned the movie. They say it is against their culture and it is promoting homosexuality. That is what Kuwait said. And a number of African countries is objecting to trying to force them to adopt cultures that are well established in the Europe and in America. And it ought not to be. We must respect one another culture. We could have unity without uniformity. And some of us voices have been very quiet from day one. We remain extremely quiet. We see we boys wearing slippers. I notice all them boys now, you're dressing them with slippers. And if you dress them with slippers and they walk in with slippers every day, they won't be athletes. They won't be sprinters. Because they don't want the slipper to make noise. Clippity, clippity, clap. Clippity, clippity, clap. So they drag in their foot and they're walking on the heels rather than the heels are lifting from the ground before the toes. The pants is falling down. So they have to open up the leg wide and help to hold up the pants by the scratch. And sometimes you watch the colors that they choose because the environmental factors now are much, much stronger than yesteryear. In addition to that, we have politicians. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, my brother, welcome. Good to hear you.
Yeah. Well, this thing about this gay thing, that thing coming a long time now because recently they had a survey where I partaking in that survey is Vanderbilt University. They had it since February. They had some people was passing around and I said, but it was based on the election in Green and all people, and they want to feedback. But under that, they had some questions concerning the right to. This thing was in making a long time. I don't know who really did send it and sent us, but they say I asked them this government. They said, nah, maybe not government. Vanderbilt University. This is from USA, Canada, so in Grenada. But I realized the testing that side was testing a long time. But somebody pushing the agenda and with money involved in that. Those surprised to see the church jump up with the state, because church and state not much different. Those surprised to see the state. They were surprised to see some of the so-called pastors and them. Some would stay quiet and some might just say something in a small way. They don't to criticize it. Because this thing is a dangerous thing for we here. We have to know the difference between right now man and woman. To me, I don't feel these things should happen in Grenada. That is just my feeling. But I don't know how they think, because remember, if from leadership come along thinking about it at the first stage, once you introduce that and say you want to have a discussion in school, that means you have that in your mind to do long, you have to do your mind. That day in your mind to do long, right? Because first thing you see that, you say, nah, let me get rid of that one time. I don't even discuss that. I don't hold no discussion on that. But once you start to discuss that means you aid and abetting in that. I'll watch it and say what I'm mind then that take care of that.
And Color, I hope you're following up the situation in Africa with Niger and the coup and all those other issues. Yes, I know this, Color. I do hope that you are following up those issues in Africa that we could continue some discussion on. Because sometimes what is happening locally is part of a wider movement. The LGBTQRS, whatever, is a very powerful group and very powerful organization. And they're able to lobby well. And when you have the agents, when you vote, when you went to vote, that's why it's so important to know people's position. When you're going to vote, you must know what is a man's position. Do you support man marrying man? You have to ask this question. Do you support man marrying cow and animals? In the United States, you have group marriage. So you see, sometimes when we voting, when we go in and vote, we don't look at the wider factor. We might dislike one person so much that we vote for another person, but we are voting against all what we stand for. And that is why I've been putting a lot of emphasis on the policy of political parties. We put a lot of interest in the leadership, but not on the policy. So if you are in a lower income group, yes, caller, welcome. Yeah. If you are in a lower income group, perhaps it is important. Perhaps it is important and it is necessary for you to ask questions when a political party is campaigning, when an individual is putting up himself for power, when an individual is putting up himself to run for election. Particularly, you don't know these individuals. Because it's not to say they've been agitating and around you from the time you're in groups. So you could practically dictate what, you'll know what this person stands for. Sometimes all they sell to you is that they come from university and they have a master's degree. We say this person is a good person and their great-grandfather come from Tivoli. That's all we know about that person. We don't know whether that individual, what they stand for. We don't know if they're beating up their wife. We don't know if they're taking advantage on the children. We don't know if they're minding their children. We don't know. You know? So we have to be careful. We have to be careful in who we select. And we must know something about the individuals we select. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Afternoon. Mr. Pierre, I support you 100% while speaking about knowing people. And this is something I always say. You have to know someone before you give your support to someone. You have to know what they stand for and what they don't stand for, Mr. Pierre. Because, Mr. Pierre, I always say Grenada is a Christian country. And for Grenada to be a Christian country, we have to stand on the policies and we stand on the word of God. If preaching the word and doing the opposite, that will make a country a Christian. A Christian country is one that stands on the word of God. And many times I find people speak, but in their doing is the opposite to what the word of God said. And Mr. Pierre, I say no to that. God created a man and a woman for them to be partners. Right? And because God said in his word, go out and multiply. A man and a man can multiply, a woman and a woman can multiply. Right? And this is abomination to any country. For a man to lie with a man and a woman to lie with a woman. And Mr. Pierre, I always say moral standard is more important than money. Right? Because even God said in his word, during an exam, God said, choose the life or death. But because he loves us and cares about us, he said the correct answer in the bracket to choose life. To choose life. So he gave us a choice. And I don't see how anyone could come and tell me, right, choose that. And while you might choose death, you want to come and tell me choose death. I had to make my own choice for myself. And I had to make the best choice for me and my family. Our parents had to grow up, bring our parents, a mother, especially a mother. She had her child in her womb for 9 months. And that mother is one of the groom her child to grow up in the right way, not the school. And what I'm hearing about bring that in school as part of a subject. Well, that could be a subject. What moral standard do bring that in school have in the development of a young person? So I say categorically, I'm totally against that attitude and what they want to bring into the school system. Because that is not development. That is not bringing up a child in the right way and grooming a young man and grooming a young woman. A man to a woman to a man. Not a man to a man and a woman to a woman. That is, God destroyed nation for that. And when we are to go that way, that means taking out the righteousness from a country and bringing unrighteousness in a country. Right? Because once a righteous exalted nation, sin is a reproach to every man. And I call upon the church to totally ignore that. Not because you may support a government, you have to ignore what other country want to bring in our country. Yes, they have in the country, let the keep it there for themselves. And let us stand on the moral standard of our nation. A man to a woman, a man to a woman, a woman to a man, not man to man. No man to man, and woman to man. So simply that's me.
You see, sometimes, every time these things happen, we jump up and we see the church. And I always ask, who is the church? All the politicians have strong church people, you know. And when we say Grenada is a Christian country, Grenadians are Christians. They follow Christ. It doesn't mean they're good Christian or bad Christian or good behaving or following. But that is the religion we follow, Christianity. You have a small number of Muslims in the country. I don't know what percentage. And we have some Rastafarians. Well, those Rastafarians is Christian too. We have some atheists. Well, when you watch them atheists, they want to initiate more morality than Christian. So it's predominantly a Christian country. That doesn't mean they're good Christians. Remember, the devil could cite scripture for its purpose. And not everybody who say, Lord, 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 can to enter. So we could call on the church. You have individuals who have their own agenda with church is concerned. And even within the church themselves doesn't seem to have a very clear-cut position on this issue. This issue is widespread. You will hear some churches saying, we like the sinner, but not the sin. We like the sinner, but not the sin. So the church wouldn't turn their back on a thief or a murderer. Just the same way they disagree with what you do. But they wouldn't throw you out of the church because you're a thief or because you're a bad politician who take bribe and drum sheep. The church won't throw you out. But they're going to say, we don't like what you do. You don't like this sin. One of the individuals said, this is a wrong statement to make. You cannot tell someone's body how to feel. Some females have testosterone level that is high, and some males have estrogen level. That is an argument advocated by a lot. Well, in animals, if a cow make twins, and it's a male and a female, one is a free mating. The female would not be able to make young ones. So you have issues. So the issue is not necessarily the level of testosterone that you got. It's the environmental factors. And that's the big issue. Where people are practically forcing individuals and encouraging individuals to play double role. You want to tell me a child can't vote, but they could determine what gender they are. So they wake up one morning and they feel like a girl. So they must be a girl. And they wake up and they feel them is a boy, but them is a boy. And the parents mustn't tell them, stop this nonsense. So the environmental factors, the encouragement, the support group that is propagating this lifestyle. And I believe some of the main objective is the breakup of the family. In the United States of America, you could marry a group of people, 3, 4, 5 men and 5, 6 women inside to join up and marry them. Who you hold, you take, who you take, you hold. Is a group of all you. Now this one perhaps no open yet. You marry a group of all you marry. So you see 5 people living in a house, 2 man, 3 women, they marry together. It's a group. So if you encourage that, some men in Greater might have about 5 women in a group. You marry with 5 women in a group. In Islam, you could marry with 5 women. And you could beat them. The Quran say you could admonish them. Well, admonish might mean chastise, scold, whatever. You could go and do the research to see with admonishing, what it means. Because when you're speaking about this belief, you have to be careful. Because sometimes Muslims say it's not that what Muhammad mean. And you can joke with Muhammad. They say you could deny your bedroom. But if you have one woman in Grenada, you could deny her bedroom. So now she ban you from the bedroom. But if you have 5 women, you could ban one from the bedroom. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Oh, yes. Always remember to turn down the device you're using. It's giving us a serious backfeed. Always remember. I know sometimes you want the people in the background to hear. So, yes, try again, caller. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
yes, my brother.
The campaign was on job, permanent job creation. So they're not a priority anymore. That should be a priority. Why you think about introducing a new thing? That behind thing that can work. Now I know find one the paper there. I think it's www.lapopsuve.org. That is from Vanderbilt.
Tell me again. Tell me again.
Free website www.lapopsuve.org.
Lapop?
Yeah. L-A-P-O-P.
L-A-T-O-P?
L-A-P-O-P.
L-A-P-O-P.
Yeah. Survey.org.
All right.
And one people
okay, we're going to research it.
Yeah, and they have a local telephone number.
What? Give us a local telephone number.
473 404 1442.
473 404 1443.
1443, yeah. That's the only people.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. You see, and I like the point that you make. Because at one time it was job creation. It was also about shelving VAT for 1 year. They gone totally silent on shelving VAT for 1 year. Job creation of making people permanent because they claim it is illegal. It is lawless. And the government is using it to keep people down. Making people permanent. They say as soon as it means immediately after the first cabinet session. As soon as in practicality means after the first cabinet meeting. Let's say after the first month. But let's say after the first year. 1 year passed. And they have not implemented as soon as. They abandon job creation, and over 3,000 Grenadians lost their job with the government coming in power. In addition to that, the government went after the elderly, the physically challenged, and disadvantaged children. I have never seen, this one is a shocker, you know. Yes, caller, welcome. Lord have mercy. Caller, please, whenever you call the program, please turn down the device. Turn down the device before you call. Not, and understand, you know, you call and you say, when they get it, I go turn down. Turn down before, because it just rings. So please call back, but turn down before. Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I think the shit has hit the in that.
I don't want to climb up again. When shit climbing up is a serious thing.
Mr. Pierre, in that, our children have been exposed to that. I say that to say, we have parents in Grenada here who are living this kind of life, and the children is exposed to it. The children is aware of it. Some of them introduce the children to the aunties and the uncles. So, the powers that there be, no, they are aware that our children is exposed to that. So they're taking it in the school full gear now.
But
so
do you think something as fundamental as that, that should be part of the manifesto?
No, it should not.
You don't believe they
No,
should
it
discuss it?
not. But Mr. Pierre,
They should just spring it on us.
Mr. Pierre, as I always say, the problems that we are existing, we have to take it right back to the home. We have to take it right back to the home.
Caller.
But what we do, we shift it from the home. We shift it from the home. We have parents, women in Grenada who is living this kind of life in front of children. We have men doing it in front of children. We say children learn what they live. You understand? We have it. We have it. It has been done in front of our children. Common mothers and fathers.
There might be exception cases, but it's not the rule.
No, it's not the rule.
It's
fair for other children
they may
to have to undergo that.
Caller, there might be one or two cases, but it is the exception rather than the rule. So if government want to introduce it in schools, then perhaps the government should put it on the manifesto or inform the public, because this is a fundamental shift.
Mr. Pierre, yes, the public has to be informed. Something has to be done so that the public would be aware of it. You cannot come and just shove it down our throat like that. But what I am saying, the children know that we saying no, and I am saying no. But the children know that some parents are saying no, that should not be done to the children. They themselves are guilty of it in the presence of the children.
You see, Colin, there are some things that goes on in Grenada that is the exception. There are one or two cases, but it is not the norm. It is not the rule. So let us suppose you choose a community. There might be one or two cases in the community out of 1,000 persons. So that is an exception. It's not a rule. It's not the modus operandi. It's not the majority of people are not involved in it.
Mr. Pierre, I don't disagree with you. But my point is, we have parents out there who are living this kind of life before their children. We have parents and we cannot doubt it.
So are you saying the government now is correct?
No, the government,
what
the government
you're doing?
is not correct.
The government is the policy makers.
Mr. Pierre, the government is not correct in what we're doing. I'm not saying the government is right. I am calling on the parents to stop that kind of life they're living in front of their children.
Well, if the government is now legitimizing it,
not approve of it. But if you live in that kind of life in front of your children, you're living that kind of life in front of your children. The government will do it to suit you. The government will do it to suit you because they know. The government, the administration know, Mr. Pierre, there are mothers and fathers who are living this kind of life in front of their children. Let's not run away from it. Let's not run away from it, Mr. Pierre.
Caller,
Mr. Pierre, I am not living that in front of my child.
Well, I don't know.
Tom is living that in front of my child. So my child now have to undergo what Tom's child is living, what Tom's child is seeing every day. It is unfair to my child. So I am calling on Tom, live a better life in front of your child.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
I am calling on Tom now to live a better life in front of your child so that my child would not be affected of the life your child is seeing.
Okay.
It's as simply as that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And you see, that's another approach. Caller feels that you might put that in the category of peer group. Somebody else doing it, but we're talking about government policy. You find people thieving in the community, but it's not a policy to thief. Government will come and say, okay, well, no, you could thief small things. You got people thieving. You have people drinking alcohol in the community and driving, but based upon the policy of government, you don't encourage people to drink alcohol and drive. Government reminds you every day of the consequences, and it's not correct. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, I hear you sit down here and I listen now. You're talking about talking about gay and church and all that. This church of them is
are part of the gay community. Rome.
Caller. The church, you're saying the church is part of the gay community? Caller. Are you saying that the Catholic Church is part of the gay community?
Yes.
Caller, that is not true.
No. What they charge them for? This
is not true.
What them church and them interfere with the
Caller, if you want this discussion, I always encourage people to stick along with the truth. Caller.
Yes.
Let me give you some information, and you could test it out before you take me on again. We have maybe more than 500,000 priests, and you will find less than 2%.
Yes.
Caller, you want to hear it? Because you're making a big accusation, and you single caller. You're making a big accusation, and you want to single out a church to attack, and you don't even broaden it to all Christianity. If you go and do research, all Christian churches have this problem, including Islam. All color. Listen to me. Hear me out a while. You're making an accusation and you single out one particular religion. And I'm saying, caller, I just listen to you, so give me a blight to know. And I'm saying to you, all religion experiencing this problem, and you must be surprised to know that the percentage is less among the Catholics. Even Islam, and I'm on many occasions I ask people to research the dancing boys. Even Islam have this issue with homosexuality. Go ahead. Yeah. You see, it's always nice to jump up on one church. Whether it's people like that. The churches sit down and batter one another the whole time and not educating people about Christianity on the whole. So it's easy to jump up and say, yes, the Catholic Church. All the religion, all the Christian religion have incidents of the pastors or the priests or the preachers involved in homosexuality. And if you go back, you might find out the percentage is less in the Catholic Church than almost any other religion. You might have had some high-blown cases. And even in Islam, we have this problem. So I don't agree with you when you see that. And I'm a little bit defensive here of the Catholic Church. Yes, the number to call is 442-0175. And it's an interesting topic. Now that it seems that the government seems to sneak in, and I would say sneak in, these policies. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I want to ask one question.
Go right ahead.
Is homosexuality wrong? Is homosexuality wrong in the sight of God?
That's the only question you're asking?
Yep.
All right, okay. Yes, the guy asked if homosexuality is wrong. Based upon my Christian belief, I don't think you should have homosexuality. The act, I believe, is wrong. Sex is for procreation, to make children. When you go in and get married, one of the questions they ask you, inform you, are you prepared to make children? If you don't intend to make children, don't get married. So live the single life. If you don't want to make children, don't get married. Because a child is a gift from God. So people getting married and say they don't want to make children, that is nonsense. If a woman accepts a man's hand in marriage, it means she wants to make children. If you cannot make children, there are people who cannot have children. Nothing is wrong with that. But if you could make children and you're not making children, I encourage you, man, to hand you, man. You're wasting time. So sex, one of the main reasons for sex is procreation. So yes, you could make child with man, can make child with man. A woman can make child with woman. But I'm not here to deal with the wrong and right of it. But in my opinion, I believe that when one of the reasons that you get married is because you want to have children. You want to propagate this species. And in a country like ours, where our population have not risen in any significant way in the last 100 years, Europe is practically aborting their way into a minority. Europe is practically aborting the population into a minority. Millions of babies have been killed through abortion. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. P.
Yes, go right ahead.
This is my first time calling.
Thank you. Welcome.
I just wanted to run something by you. Remember the NDC watchword during the campaign. The watchwords were transformation. So my question to you, sir, I know you're a brilliant man. Could the word transgender come out of the word transformation?
Now, when the NDC speak about transformation, we got the impression that it was some dramatic changes. We got the impression that it was going to do something. Because, take for instance, if the NDC agreed to make everybody on contract permanent, that was dramatic. That alone, if they had done that alone, that would have been a dramatic change. And I believe the word transformation was directly targeting the public service, how you employ workers. They say there is no need for a parallel public service. That is dramatic. The NDC say, yes, we're going to pay pension. There is no need for dialogue. This is dramatic. Every economist in the whole Caribbean tell you, you must have dialogue on this issue. Because the Minister of Labor say we could seriously impact the economy. She used some other even stronger words. So the transformation the NDC was speaking about, I think, was in relationship to the policy on how you employ workers and etc. And they was telling lies. And they knew they was lying. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yeah. So, and then the Prime Minister said, yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, my brother.
It's about the sixth time I'm calling, you know.
Yes, the line kind of hot today.
I'm getting through, but you keep talking. Sorry. But, Mr. Pierre, the mere fact that issue is to the teachers, so that they come to the point where they reject it, it means that the government was hoping to be successful about implementing that as a policy in school, you know. Where teachers know how to teach the children about this gay community, you know.
That is why,
that thing developed so fast in this country and so subtle, because it's the first time I'm hearing about that is on the news that the teachers rejected the idea, you know. I never heard that discussion being an open issue in the country. Never. But Mr. Pierre, you talking about, and that's what I was trying to get you about, that you must know the position of a politician before you vote for them. Every single position that Deacon Mitchell declared, he's doing the opposite. He did so far the opposite, and he's doing the opposite continuously. So you, depending on what they say at the time when they are campaigning, or I'm saying the voters, that is not a guarantee. And people need to understand that. What you need to do, and this is what I did, Mr. Pierre, and you might have noticed it afterwards. One or two people noticed it, because I spoke to one or two people so far, who recognize that Deacon is a deceitful type of person from the beginning. And I have no problem in saying it consistently and continuously. It is obvious that this man is a campish type of person. And I have no apology to make to anybody for that. The man is very subtle. Listen to his words. Look at his actions. Look at how he put things. And you could know that guy is deceitful. And the Almighty say, and I talk about it all the time, the Almighty say that when it comes to the devil, when you shall see him, people will say, is that the one that deceived the world? Because the devil looks so innocent to people. If you actually see the devil, people think that the devil is some kind of scary looking kind of person or personality. No. Maybe a good example, we have one in Grenada. Take care, sir.
Yes, thank you, caller. Maybe that is why the government was so quick to pay the teachers for the days they did not work. So hoping for good relationship, hoping the teachers would have accepted it lob, stock and barrel. And after the individual was jumping up on Mayday, jumping up, asking for the head of public officers and showing contempt for solidarity for the first time in the history of Grenada, it would have pleased the heart of the National Democratic Congress. But I don't believe perhaps this one was too sudden and strong for the teachers. So they wanted to sneak it in. Caller, yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller. Please turn off your device. I know that caller is trying to get us, but turn off the device. Turn off the device, whichever you're using, radio, computer, before you call us. Because it's really, it appears it is loud and it's really banging in. Yes, so in 1989, the unions took industrial action and they strike for 2 days. And Mr. Blaze removed the pay for 2 days. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am.
I wonder if this system that is coming into Grenada now is part of the mark of the beast. Because the mark of the beast is not a literal mark you will see on the hand or on the face. It's a system worldwide. And this thing that they're introducing here now in school, it's been going on in other parts of the world already. So I wonder if that is part of it. Those who stand up and say, no, they're not introducing that and they're not standing for that, hats off to them. Because if you cannot stand up right now for what is right, when the time comes, more terrible time comes, you will fall for anything just for survival. But people stand for your right. It is wrong. It is wrong in the sight of God, and don't accept it. Don't let your children. Now is the time parents have to educate their children. Now is the time they have to educate their children. Speak to your children. Even at birth, speak to them, they understand. Thank you.
Yes, caller, thank you. Kuwait ban Barbie movie. So Gray and say she's black Barbie. She's black Barbie. Kuwait ban Barbie. You say Barbie is a means to soften up the public, to accept. You say when children born now, you can put male or female, Because by the time they say they have 8 years, somebody tell them turn on female and they want to turn on female. Some turning female, they turning back to male and all sort of nonsense. And some of these things are environmental. You may have some testosterone and estrogen higher levels in one another, but the environmental factors are the real culprit that propelling this issue. And they want to make certain that they dictate their ways among you. And that is the reason they go to the children. And that is the reason, and that's why I advocate. You may not be 100% certain, but we're in a better position if we know the politicians that want to represent us. The National Democratic Congress have a history of not seeking the interests of the people in the lower income group. I asked this question 1,000 times. I want somebody to tell me, why is it the National Democratic Congress fired 30 workers from Grand Bay Estate? And they claim that they like agriculture. Then why? It'd be nice if they give us some form of information. And we come to the end of our program. And another interesting topic that we don't want shut down. We want you to feel good to to discuss these issues. We fear no topic, no subject matter, so we want you to discuss this issue. Well, we end for the day and we back with you tomorrow morning very early on the extension. And I will join my brother tomorrow on the extension. Thank you very much.